Ever dreamt of just taking off, soaring above it all?
Yeah.
Today,
Present.
today we're exploring a story that takes that dream to a whole new level.
Okay.
Get ready to unpack the tale of Lawn Chair Larry Walters,
All right.
the man who flew 16,000 feet high,
Oh.
using nothing but a lawn chair and weather balloons.
It sounds crazy, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it's 100% true.
It is, absolutely.
And beyond the sheer audacity, there's a fascinating story
Yeah.
about yearning for flight, defying limitations,
Right.
and the ripple effects one man's wild ride had on the world.
Let's start with Larry himself.
Okay.
He wasn't just some daredevil looking for a quick thrill.
No.
This was rooted in a lifelong fascination with flight.
Exactly. Lawrence Richard Larry Walters, born in 1949,
Okay.
had his sights set on the sky from a young age.
Early on?
His dream was to become a pilot,
Mm-hmm.
but poor eyesight dashed those hopes.
that's
Can you
right.
imagine having that kind of passion
Yeah.
but being told it's out of reach?
It's got to be a crushing disappointment.
Yeah.
But instead of giving up,
Right.
Larry took a different path,
Okay.
a much more, shall we say, unconventional one.
He ended up working as a truck driver,
Okay.
a far cry from the cockpit.
Yeah.
But that yearning to fly never truly left him. It just simmered beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to take off.
And that moment came when he was just 13 years old.
Really?
He had this almost fateful encounter with weather balloons at a military surplus store.
Interesting.
It wasn't just seeing them.
Yeah.
It was the idea that sparked in his mind.
Uh-huh.
These ordinary balloons used for weather monitoring
Right.
could potentially lift a person.
Wow.
That image stuck with him for years, almost like a seed waiting to sprout.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the dream,
Okay.
the disappointment,
Right.
and this almost prophetic moment in a surplus store.
Right.
Now, fast forward about 2 decades to 1982. What exactly possessed Larry to put this plan into action?
It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing.
Okay.
He spent months meticulously planning, gathering supplies, and constructing what he called Inspiration Eye.
Inspiration Eye.
He even got his girlfriend, Carol Van Dusen, involved.
Okay.
And they worked on it in her mother's backyard.
I'm picturing this scene. A suburban backyard transformed into mission control
Right.
for a DIY flight operation.
Uh-huh.
What did Inspiration Eye actually consist of?
Hmm.
I'm guessing it wasn't exactly aerospace-grade engineering?
Think less NASA.
Okay.
More creative problem solving.
Got it.
Larry purchased 45 8-foot weather balloons from, you guessed it,
Yeah.
that same military surplus store.
Okay.
He also needed helium tanks.
Right.
But instead of going through official channels, he got those from a party supply store.
Oh, wow.
It's almost comical to picture that.
Talk about resourcefulness.
Uh-huh.
But let's not forget the most iconic part of this whole story.
Right.
The lawn chair itself.
Yeah.
How did that become the chosen vessel for this daring flight?
Larry literally bought it from Sears for $109.
Okay.
Your average, everyday lawn chair,
Wow.
about to become anything but average.
Yeah.
It's such a fantastic detail, this ordinary object taking center stage in such an extraordinary event.
It's almost symbolic, right?
It is.
This regular guy taking something mundane and using it to reach incredible heights.
Yeah.
So they're in the backyard, balloons inflated, lawn chair ready.
Right.
What happens next? Does Larry announce his grand plan to the world?
He actually intended to notify the authorities before liftoff.
Okay.
The plan was to be tethered to his Jeep, give the heads up,
Okay.
then release and ascend.
Right.
But as you might imagine with a plan like this,
Yeah.
things didn't exactly go to script.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat here.
Yeah.
What went wrong?
Before the team could make the call, the
Uh-oh.
tether snapped.
Oh, no.
Suddenly, Larry finds himself rapidly ascending into the California sky, lawn chair and all.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a moment of pure surprise,
Right?
a blend of, oh no, and oh, holy cow, this is actually happening.
I can only imagine the mix of terror and exhilaration coursing through him
Yeah.
as he's lifted thousands of feet into the air.
Yeah.
anyone on the ground even know what was happening?
Well, he wasn't exactly inconspicuous.
No.
Imagine you're a pilot going about your day, and
Yep.
suddenly you see a man in a lawn chair,
Man.
surrounded by balloons,
Crazy.
drifting across the sky.
What?
That's what happened to 2 commercial airline pilots who spotted Larry during his ascent.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you picture the conversations in the cockpit and on those planes?
Talk about an unexpected sight. And it wasn't just planes. He actually drifted into controlled airspace,
Oh, no.
the approach corridor for Long Beach Airport.
Wow.
Surely that got some attention.
It did, and here's where things get even more surreal.
All right.
Larry had packed a CB radio,
Right.
and he was actually able to communicate with people on the ground.
Really?
He made contact with REACT,
Okay.
a citizens band radio monitoring organization,
Uh-huh.
and they had this incredible exchange that captures the absurdity of the whole situation.
Okay, I have to hear this.
Yeah.
What did they say to each other?
REACT, trying to figure out what they were dealing with,
Uh-huh.
asked Larry, "What information do you wish me to tell the airport at this time
Oh.
as to your location and your difficulty?"
Right.
I'm sure they weren't expecting, "I'm in a lawn chair attached to balloons," as the answer.
What did Larry say?
He responded,
Okay.
The difficulty is this was an unauthorized balloon launch, and I know I'm in federal airspace,
Oh,
and I'm sure my ground crew has alerted the proper authority.
right.
But just call them and tell them I'm okay. It's this blend of sheepishness,
Yeah.
a little bit of pride,
Right.
and a whole lot of how did I get here?
That's amazing. He's thousands of feet in the air
Yeah.
in a lawn chair,
Yeah.
and he's politely apologizing for an unauthorized launch.
It's incredible.
So what happens next? Does he just keep floating until the balloons run out of helium?
Well,
He's up there chatting on his CB radio, probably taking in some incredible views.
yeah.
But at some point, reality has to set in.
Right.
How does Lawn Chair Larry return to Earth?
That's where things get a little bit dicey.
Okay.
Remember, he's not in a hot air balloon with any kind of controls.
Right.
He's literally sitting in a lawn chair at the mercy of the wind
Right.
and the whims of those weather balloons.
So no gentle descent, no smooth landing.
Not exactly. Larry had planned for this,
Okay.
albeit with a method that might raise a few eyebrows.
Really?
He'd packed a pellet gun with him.
What?
The idea being to shoot out balloons one by one
Okay.
to gradually lose altitude.
A pellet gun.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, I know.
That sounds incredibly risky.
It is.
Oh, God.
And you know what they say about the best laid plans?
Huh?
Larry started shooting balloons as planned,
Okay.
aiming for a controlled descent.
Right.
But then, in a move that probably made everyone listening on the CB radio gasp,
Yeah.
he accidentally dropped the pellet gun.
Oh, no. He's stuck up there, no way to control his descent,
Yeah.
and potentially drifting further away from land.
Right.
This is where things could have gone very, very wrong.
You're not kidding.
Oh, my God.
But luck, or maybe fate, was on Larry's side.
Mm.
As the balloons naturally started to lose some helium,
Okay.
she did begin to descend,
Right.
though not exactly toward a safe and open field as he might have hoped.
Okay, so he's coming down, but where does he end up? And what happens when a lawn chair attached to a bunch of deflating weather balloons
Right.
encounters civilization?
Picture this Long Beach, California,
Okay.
a residential neighborhood, people going about their day. Right.
Suddenly, they see this bizarre sight descending from the sky.
Yeah.
A man in a lawn chair tangled in balloon string,
Oh, wow.
getting closer and closer.
It must have been like something out of a movie.
Right.
A blend of disbelief and, is that really what I think it is?
It gets better as Larry drifted lower.
Mm-hmm.
Those dangling cables from the balloon snagged on something,
Okay.
decidedly less forgiving than a tree branch.
Oh, was it?
They got caught on a power line.
Oh, no. This is a recipe for disaster. I can't even imagine the voltage
Each one
running
over.
through those lines.
It was a bad situation, to say the least.
Oh, gosh.
The impact caused the power line to snap, resulting in a 20-minute blackout for a good chunk of Long Beach.
Wow.
Talk about an unexpected interruption to everyone's day.
And Larry, what happened to him?
Yeah.
It's amazing he wasn't seriously injured or worse.
Somehow, despite the tangled balloons, the power line incidents,
Right.
and the unplanned landing.
Larry walked away from the whole thing relatively unharmed.
Really?
A few bumps and bruises, maybe a bit of a shock.
Okay.
But considering the circumstances, he was incredibly lucky.
So he lands,
Yeah.
causes a blackout,
Yeah.
and everyone's probably staring at him in disbelief.
Probably.
What happens next? Does he just gather up his balloons and head home?
not quite waiting for him on the ground,
Yeah.
probably with a mix of amazement and exasperation,
Right.
were the Long Beach police.
Okay.
They took Larry into custody,
Right.
which is understandable.
Yeah.
He'd just flown over restricted airspace,
Right.
caused a power outage,
Right.
and basically created a scene straight out of a cartoon.
I bet the police had never seen anything like it before.
No.
What kind of charges did they even file for something like this? Unauthorized lawn chair flight.
The authorities were definitely scratching their heads, trying to figure out which rules Larry had broken. Neil Savoy, a regional safety inspector, was quoted as saying, "We know he broke some part of the Federal Aviation Act,
Right.
and as soon as we decide which part it is, some type of charge will be filed."
Wow.
It's almost comical.
Yeah.
Even they were struggling to categorize this incredibly unique event.
So what was the verdict? Did he end up in jail for his high-flying adventure?
He didn't go to jail, but he wasn't exactly given a free pass.
Okay.
They hit him with a $4,000 fine
Wow.
for a laundry list of violations,
Oh, yeah.
including operating an aircraft without proper communication with the control tower.
Okay.
I guess chatting on a CB radio with REICT didn't count.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that the fine was later reduced to $1,500 after Larry appealed.
Right.
It seems like even the legal system recognized the unusual nature of his crime.
It does.
So after the dust settles, he's on the ground.
Right.
He's dealt with the authorities.
Uh-huh.
What's Larry's takeaway from this whole crazy experience? Regret? Relief? Or maybe a sense of accomplishment for achieving this long-held dream?
It's a mix of all of those things, I think. In a press interview, he said,
Gotcha.
it was something I had to do. I had this dream for 20 years.
Right.
And if I hadn't done it, I think I would have ended up in the funny farm.
Wow.
It's clear that this wasn't just a stunt.
Yeah.
It was about fulfilling a deep-seated yearning, even if it meant bending or breaking a few rules.
And he also famously said,
Yeah.
"By the grace of God, I fulfilled my dream, but I wouldn't do this again for anything."
Right.
That perfectly captures the conflicting emotions, right?
It does.
The thrill of achieving something incredible.
Yeah.
The relief of surviving.
Yeah.
And a healthy dose of, okay, once is enough.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Larry's story doesn't end there.
Yeah.
His flight, as reckless and absurd as it was, actually had a lasting impact. He became this unlikely folk hero, a symbol of daring to dream big, even if those dreams seem completely outlandish.
Yeah.
And his flight inspiration, I would inspire others to take to the skies in similarly unconventional ways.
It's amazing how Larry's flight, this crazy, reckless stunt, sparked a whole new trend.
Yeah.
Cluster ballooning.
Right.
People saw him floating around in a lawn chair. And some of them thought,
Yeah.
hey, I could do that.
God, that's hard to believe, right?
Yeah, it is.
But Larry's adventure definitely put the idea on the map.
Right.
And it turns out he wasn't even the first to try it.
Really?
Back in 1937, a photographer named Al Mingalone
Okay.
accidentally took to the skies with 32 weather balloons.
Wow.
When his mooring rope snapped.
Whoa, hold on. So cluster ballooning predates lawn chair Larry.
Yeah, it does.
Tell me more about this Mingalone incident.
Well, Mingalone was working on a newsreel for Paramount,
Okay.
capturing aerial footage at Old Orchard Beach in Maine.
Right.
Suddenly, he found himself 700 feet up in the air.
Wow.
That's even higher than a skyscraper.
Oh, my God.
Thankfully, a quick-thinking clergyman,
Okay.
Father James J. Mullen,
Uh-huh.
saw what was happening and chased after him for 13 miles.
Really?
He actually shot out 2 balloons with a .22 caliber rifle,
What?
allowing Mingalone to come down safely.
Talk about a dramatic rescue. A priest with a rifle saving a balloonist.
I know, right?
Okay, so cluster ballooning has a longer history than we might think.
Right.
But how did Larry's flight influence what came after?
His story definitely popularized the idea.
Okay.
And in the years that followed,
Yeah.
we saw a wave of cluster balloon enthusiasts taking to the skies.
Wow.
Some were just looking for a thrill,
Right.
while others pushed the boundaries of what was possible, turning it into an almost competitive pursuit.
It's fascinating how a single event can spark such a diverse range of responses.
Yeah.
What are some of the standout stories in the world of cluster ballooning?
Well, one name that comes to mind is Kent Couch,
Oh.
often called the modern-day lawn chair Larry. This guy was a real innovator. In 2007, he flew 240 miles in his lawn chair.
Wow.
Landing near the Idaho border.
Oh, my God.
And get this.
Yeah.
He used plastic bags filled with water as ballast.
What?
To control his altitude. Talk about thinking outside the box.
Water-filled bags. That's brilliant.
I know.
But it sounds like he took things a step further than Larry.
He did. Kent wasn't content with just floating around.
Oh.
He had this ambition to cross state lines by cluster balloon.
Wow.
And he actually achieved it in 2008.
Really?
Landing in western Idaho after a 9-hour flight.
Oh, my gosh.
He even developed a more controlled method for releasing helium.
Okay.
Moving beyond the shoot balloons with the pellet gun approach.
It sounds like cluster ballooning evolved into this almost scientific pursuit for some with people experimenting with different techniques and equipment.
Yeah.
But as we've already discussed, it's not without its risks.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, not all cluster balloon flights have had happy endings.
Oh, no.
In 2008, a Brazilian priest named Adelir Antonio de Carli attempted a long-distance flight for a charitable cause. He was hoping to travel 450 miles inland, but he encountered a storm, lost contact, and was tragically lost at sea.
Oh, wow.
It's a stark reminder of how quickly things can go wrong in this unpredictable activity.
It's heartbreaking, and it highlights the need for caution, even with careful planning.
Right.
But despite the inherent dangers, people have continued to be drawn to cluster ballooning.
Yeah.
Pushing the limits even further. We've got Jonathan Trapp crossing the English Channel in 2010.
Wow.
Even recreating the house from the movie up with balloons.
That's amazing.
And it's not just about recreating movie scenes.
Yeah.
We've seen cluster ballooning used for publicity stunts. Like Daniel Boria flying over Calgary in 2015.
Right.
And even parachuting out of his balloon contraption.
Wow.
And then there's Tom Morgan,
who
flew 15 miles across South Africa in 2017, reaching heights of 8,000 feet.
It's amazing.
It's amazing how this simple concept has been taken to such extremes.
Yeah, it is.
It seems like there's no shortage of creativity and daring when it comes to cluster ballooning.
Right.
And it all traces back to Larry Walters and his audacious flight in a lawn chair.
His story has captured the imagination of people worldwide, inspiring everything from songs and musicals to documentaries and feature films. It's even led to the iconic Inspiration lawn chair, finding a permanent home in the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum.
Wow.
In Washington, D.C.
Oh, my gosh.
Right alongside some of history's most famous aircraft.
Yeah.
Talk about a legacy.
From a suburban backyard to a place of honor in a national museum.
Yeah.
It's quite a journey.
It is.
It makes you wonder, what is it about this story that continues to resonate with people decades later?
I think it speaks to that universal desire within us to break free, to defy limitations, to chase dreams that others might see as crazy or impossible. Yeah.
Larry's flight was a testament to the human spirit of ingenuity and adventure.
Right.
Even if it was wrapped in a package of recklessness and absurdity.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected stories, the ones that make us laugh and shake our heads in disbelief, can also be the ones that inspire us the most.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a question.
Okay.
What's your inspiration? What's that dream, that ambition that seems so outlandish, so impossible, that others might tell you to keep your feet firmly on the ground?
What would it take for you to take flight, to defy expectations, to pursue that thing that sets your soul on fire? We encourage you to think about it, to let these stories inspire you, and maybe even to share your own impossible dream with us. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll be doing a deep dive into your audacious adventure.
That would be awesome.